A 3-year-old baby abandoned by Blue Star unexpectedly transmigrated into an egg in the beast world Interstellar. To avoid being devoured by wild beasts, she took the Empire's military cemetery as her shelter, thinking she could grow up happily and strong. Unexpectedly, after her phoenix bloodline was exposed, it attracted countless handsome big shots vying to dote on her. Domineering lion, cold and gorgeous black panther, sickly sweet merman, peerless white tiger. A dilapidated and ruined abandoned cemetery cluster. The little toddler laboriously pulls a wooden plank, huffing and puffing as she heads toward her dwelling. Today she must fix the roof. With a splat, she didn't pull it properly, and both her and the plank fell flat on the ground. It's been so hard since coming out of the egg 5 years ago. Haven't even seen a single person. Though I've seen quite a few skeletons, and they were incomplete at that. Speaking of which, she suddenly remembered she hadn't gone to pay respects at the cemetery today. Better go pay respects first before fixing the roof. After arriving at the temporary cemetery, Yan Fuxia placed a blade of grass from her pocket in front of the tombstone. Put her palms together, muttered softly. I only found this one blade of grass today. Don't even know what kind of grass it is. But it's edible. I took a bite, haven't kicked the bucket yet. Tomorrow, I'm back to collect this blade of grass for lunch. Remember to eat it today. After muttering, Yan Fuxia got up and went to other tombstones. Each tombstone had shiny fragments placed in front of it. She broke it off from the wrecked spacecraft not far away. Today's fragment is a bit small, mainly because I can't reach higher ones. After this piece is broken off, I'll go inside this building to break some more. After saying that, she began wiping the tombstone. Look how shiny I've wiped it. I guarantee you can use it as a mirror down there to illuminate your handsome and beautiful faces. Although before crossing over she was just a middle school student and didn't know much, she knew that soldiers should be respected, whether in life or after death. Zhonghuijia has a tradition of respecting soldiers, closing their eyes for them, because they believe, even after death, those soldier souls with faith will still guard the homeland. Although this is not Zhonghuijia, but an unknown place, still, as fellow soldiers, it's more or less the same. After wiping the last tombstone, Yan Fuxia wiped the sweat from her forehead. Looking at the sparkling tombstones again, she grinned happily, showing her little teeth. I'm really awesome. 5 years since crossing over. From initial fear to now being accustomed to it. If not for the military uniforms around these skeletons, she would have been scared to death long ago. The moment she saw the military uniforms, Yan Fuxia was no longer afraid. And so this graveyard came to be. Zhonghuijia has an old saying, if you encounter bad people or ghosts, run into a military cemetery and you'll be safe. It really is true. At that moment, a roaring sound rang out. She stood on tiptoe, gazing into the distance. At a small black dot. What is that thing? Watching the black dot grow from far to near, Yan Fuxia's hair stood on end. Could it be that the big bugs are coming again? Thinking this, she hurriedly ducked into the eggshell, then pulled the eggshell lid shut, leaving only one gap, just enough to see outside. Hiding inside the eggshell, Yan Fuxia felt utterly wrong. Which time traveler could be as miserable as her? Heroic spirits, protect me. Tomorrow I'll find more fragments for you. The extra large kind. Inside the starship, a man looks serious. His Highness the Crown Prince is about to arrive at the Chongming battlefield. The starship will land shortly. Yahweh's expression was somewhat worried. Marshal Gu, do you think this time it could be real? This place is nothing but a ruined battlefield. 20 years ago, the last family member of the Yan Fu clan perished right here. Since then, the Yan clan, bearers of the Phoenix bloodline, became extinct, and the Empire's life tree, bound to the Phoenix bloodline, also rapidly declined. Until 5 years ago, this nearly withered life tree suddenly revived with new life. This also meant that the Yan Fu clan had produced a very high-level female cub. So, in the following years, they searched every corner of the empire, but never found this female cub. Sometimes even knowing it's fake news, they still have to go see it, just afraid they might really miss out. At this moment, Gu Chen said excitedly to the command room, discovered some very orderly wreckage of a starship ahead. The Zerg couldn't have done this. It could only have been done by humans. This is the chirping battlefield. That battle back then was extremely brutal. Even if wreckage was scattered everywhere, it would absolutely not be this orderly. And since the battle ended, no one has entered the chirping battlefield again. The Empire gradually began to treat it as the outermost defensive line. The only possible explanation for the situation now is that someone organized the wreckage here. And this is also their hope. The starship tilted slightly to one side, then saw a huge piece of wreckage. Behind it was a huge egg, completely shielded from view. Yahweh looked at the familiar pattern. His whole body trembled with tension. It was actually the egg his friend had so carefully protected. He hastily ordered, "Stop. Starship, we'll walk over. Don't scare her." The egg had cracks and a gap. Clearly, the hatchling inside had already broken out. The tree of life had regained its vitality and had maintained it until now, proving the hatchling was still alive. Perhaps this time they had really found it. The starship stopped outside this area of wreckage, landed on the ground, without making a single sound. A team emerged from the carrier. They inspected the surrounding environment and quickly formed a perimeter around the area. Yahweh strode quickly down from the carrier and walked towards the field of fragments. The distance was too great earlier, so they hadn't looked carefully. But as the distance closed, they realized this was no orderly field of fragments. This was clearly a neat array of tombstones standing in front of the egg. Yahweh's psychic energy had already enveloped the egg's surroundings, clearly sensing a weak presence. And this presence belonged to a female. But there was only one crack and one small gap. The little one inside must have been looking outside through this gap. Yahweh suppressed his excitement and performed a very gentlemanly bow hello. "I am the first prince of the empire. My name is Yahweh." However, half a day passed, but no response came from within, not even the slightest movement. Yahweh continued to wait patiently outside. The surrounding psychic energy remained gentle and even carried a sense of joy. This state lasted for 2 hours. Both sides remained quietly in place. Everyone waited patiently nearby, even though there was no response from the egg. Since the Grand Prince could speak like this, it proved there must be a hatchling inside. And inside the egg, Yan Fuxia was utterly speechless. It had been such a long time. Why haven't the people outside left yet? Besides, what era is this anyway? Still talking about princes? He curled his lip, thinking the people outside must be tricking him, just to lure him out. Could it be those giant bugs turned into humans? Specifically, to trick him into coming out and then eat him in one bite? Holy shit, that's too terrifying. So she quickly closed her eyes, put her hands together, praying to the heroic spirits she had buried to look upon her daily offerings and protect her. They remained deadlocked like this for another 2 hours. Yan Fuxia's eyes were wide. Why is this person so persistent? Maybe I'll take a peek. Just one look. What if the person is gone? With that, she carefully peered out through the crack. When she saw a pair of golden eyes, she was so scared she fell over. Since the egg was oval-shaped, with a splat sound, the egg toppled over. Yahweh didn't expect this development either. He hadn't even done anything yet. The egg just fell over. He didn't even have time to catch it. So, in front of everyone, the top half of the eggshell just fell off, revealing The little hatchling inside. Yahweh was so scared, cold sweat poured down. Because females are very fragile, especially during the hatchling stage. He was afraid this fall might have hurt the little hatchling. Yan Fuxia saw so many people around. She was so scared that her hair stood on end. She quickly scrambled up and tried to crawl into the eggshell. Wait, where's my eggshell lid? Wei picked up the nearby lid and handed it to her. Looking for this? Yan Fuxia grabbed the eggshell lid. Thank you. Then she nimbly crawled into the eggshell. Lid snapped shut, cutting off all TIs. After a long while, Yan Fuxia started to feel something was off. That person just now seemed to speak. Even if bugs can take human form, they still can't speak human language. So, are those outside humans? Just don't know if they're good people or bad people. So she timidly asked, "Are you good people?" A soft, weak voice came from inside the eggshell, making everyone who heard it unconsciously lower their own voices. That's for you to judge yourself. But we are indeed here for you. And we won't hurt you. This person speaks very skillfully. My teacher said before, bad people won't say they are bad, but they will definitely say they are good. So he's not a bad person. Yan Fuxia felt she wasn't that stupid. Just listen to the teacher's words. Why are you looking for me? Do you know who I am? Yahweh smiled with extreme gentleness. We are here to protect you. I know your surname is Yin Fu. The eggshell lid was suddenly pushed open. The little girl just abruptly appeared before everyone. How did you know my surname is Yin Fu? In order not to scare the little cub, Yahweh consciously took 2 steps back, maintaining a safe distance. If I haven't miscalculated, you should be 5 years old this year. Yan Fuxia looked utterly surprised. You even know this? Are you a deity? Yahweh glanced at the military uniform nearby. I also know your father. His name is Yan Fuking. From the 19th squad. His serial number is on this uniform. This time, Yan Fuxia did not reply. Instead, she softly said, "Thank you then." Picked up her own eggshell, and huffed and puffed as she walked toward the wrecked starship not far away. Yahweh and Gu Chen followed behind her, without offering to help. They just wanted to see what she was going to do. Yan Fuxia arrived in front of the huge, wrecked starship. Using all her might, she started prying off a fragment. Before long, she had broken off a large piece. She took the fragment to the tombstone, and began carving words with the stone in her hand. Although the characters were crooked and uneven, she was very earnest. Yan Fuking, Imperial Army 19th Squad, died on. Forget it, only bones are left. Probably been quite some time. I'd better not write that for you. Let you remain forever young. After finishing the writing, Yan Fuxia wiped her face, looked at her handiwork. Her expression was quite satisfied. I'm awesome. Since I've run into people, I might as well ask everything while I'm at it. She turned her head to look at Yahweh. Do you know the affiliations and serial numbers of the others? Yahweh was somewhat stunned. He didn't expect the little cub not only to refrain from crying and complaining to them, but to first show concern for these tombstones. We will bring these people back to the Empire. You are you. I am me. Is there any difference? Yes. For these past few years, it was they who protected me. When ghosts appeared, Awa watched the little cub make a cute ghost face. Yahweh wanted to laugh, but held it back. This is Gu Chen, position, marshal. He knows these matters best. Gu Chen looked at the little girl with sparkling eyes, so he had Thaddeus accompany her to search one by one. Yan Fuxia was extremely happy. She quickly took Thaddeus to the side of the wrecked spacecraft and dug up the treasure she had buried. When he saw that the treasure the little cub dug up was a pile of tattered military uniforms, Thaddeus suddenly didn't know how to describe his feelings. He suppressed the ache in his heart and called a few subordinates over to help. How could they let the little cub handle it alone? After Yan Fuxia matched everyone's information, she returned to the largest fragment tombstone. Looking at the words on the tombstone, she fell silent. In truth, she was not the real Yan Fuxia. The real Yan Fuxia had long since died inside the eggshell. She just happened to have crossed over. But since she was using this person's body, using this person's identity, the Nyanfu clan also needs her. She doesn't understand other mutual things, but she still understands gratitude. However, there is a relatively serious problem now. She kept a straight face, looking up at the already darkened sky. Thaddeus, seeing this from the side, instantly became tense. Could there be a problem? Why does the little cub look so serious? Batman sighed. My roof isn't fixed yet. I feel like it's going to rain tonight. Is there still time to fix it now? Speaking of this, she suddenly remembered the wooden plank she had put down. So she ran off, scampering away. Thaddeus hurriedly followed behind, carefully protecting her, afraid the little cub might bump or hurt herself. Seeing the wooden plank still lying in its place, Yan Fuxia smiled happily again. Fortunately, my wooden plank is still here. I probably won't get rained on tonight. Thaddeus was somewhat baffled. Get rained on by what? Yan Fuxia said with a serious face. My roof is leaking. When it rained the day before yesterday, the house was full of water. So I found a wooden plank, planning to fix the roof. Thaddeus felt like he was going to faint. How can the little cub live in a leaky house? And even have to fix the roof herself, which is so dangerous. Your Highness, Yanfu, you can come back to the battleship with us right now, and then return to the imperial capital. We will provide you with the best house to live in. Yan Fuxia waved her hand. The teacher said, one should not accept rewards without merit. I'm poor and can't afford rent. Thaddeus wiped the sweat from his forehead. No rent needed. It's free. Yan Fuxia thought seriously for a long time. I get it. You're trying to trick me with the free offer. Then stuff me into a sack and sell me. Thaddeus was completely dumbfounded by these words. His usually super high intelligence now seemed utterly useless. How should he explain this? Yan Fuxia stared at him warily. Indeed, bad people don't have it written on their foreheads. They've finally shown their true colors. So she dragged her wooden plank and ran away. Although she ran very slowly, she was indeed moving. What bad people fear most is a military purpose. Thaddeus didn't know how to explain. He could only slowly follow behind her, watching her struggle to run away. After dragging the plank back to the graveyard, Yan Fuxia was panting heavily from exhaustion. This frail body really can't do anything right. She picked up the eggshell lid, then placed the wooden plank aside, and crawled into the eggshell herself, put on the lid and curled up. Yahweh, who had just finished reporting his progress, returned, and saw the two in a stalemate. He walked up, somewhat puzzled. What's wrong? Gu Chen and Thaddeus walked a bit farther away, and explained to Yahweh what had just happened. Yahweh fell silent after listening. The little cub was born on a battlefield of ruins. Its understanding of everything around it is limited to this world of the ruined battlefield. Naturally, it does not comprehend the importance of females themselves, nor does it understand the status and treatment of females. But they understand this principle. Yet how should they explain it to the little cub? The three people fell into a brief silence. Finally, they decided to seek external help. Looking at the thing being pushed into the crack of the eggshell, Yan Fuxia was somewhat speechless. These people are really too much. Although she was previously a middle school student, it doesn't mean she likes studying. What do you mean by shoving a textbook in here? Before the textbook could be fully pushed in, Yan Fuxia directly pushed it out. Throw it far away. I can't stand looking at it at all. Thaddeus smiled awkwardly. Your Highness, Yanfu, this is imperial history. You could learn about it. So it's history that I can take a look at. So she took the textbook, nestled in the eggshell, and began to read. flipping through it back and forth several times. Yan Fuxia finally looked up with dead fish eyes, and finally understood the basic situation of this world. This is a star-faring world, where females are scarce. The total number of all females only reaches 3 digits. Calculating the population ratio, Yan Fuxia felt she was like a giant panda. Are you going to keep me in captivity? Of course not. You can move around freely as you like. Do whatever you want. Although that's what they say. Yan Fuxia knew that there would always be certain restrictions on whatever she did. And there's no such thing as a free lunch. To gain something, you have to give something. This much she understood. So what do you want from me? Hearing this question, the few people suddenly froze. They really didn't know how to say it in a way that would make Yan Fuxia less resistant. A completely unfamiliar voice sounded. Freedom requires using your female genes to obtain. Simply put, it's about bearing the next generation. Yan Fuxia tilted her head with a laugh, then asked her own question. Can I choose who to give birth for? You can choose freely. But the system will also assign you 5 males, because they are all the most suitable for your genes. Having read many post-apocalyptic novels, Yan Fuxia said, it's still acceptable. Wherever you are, you must accept the rules of that place. Otherwise, it's too easy to be awkward. Having figured this out, Yan Fuxia felt she could come out now. So she directly crawled out of the eggshell. Nan Yan looked at the thin, weak girl in front of him. She looked severely malnourished. Shall we return to the imperial capital? Yan Fuxia pointed at the surrounding tombstones. Then they have to come back too. Nan Yan nodded. No problem, inside the starship. Yan Fuxia stared in shock at everything inside the cabin. Is this the technology of the interstellar era? So dreamlike. She withdrew her astonished gaze. She found a corner to put the eggshell down, then prepared to climb into the eggshell and sit down. But before she could climb in, she was picked up by Gu Chen. Yan Fuxia looked at him puzzled. Can't I stay here? Then I'll find another corner. Gu Chen was somewhat helpless. There's a room specially prepared for you. You don't have to stay in the eggshell. Yan Fuxia's eyes lit up. Is it the kind of room that doesn't leak water? Gu Chen nodded, then took her to a room. This is the room prepared for you. First, see if you like it. If you don't like it, we'll change it for you. Looking at the room before her, Yan Fuxia was completely stunned. Is this the king-size bed written about in novels? Love it. Seeing her silent, Gu Chen then spoke up to ask, do you like it? If not, we can change to another one. Yan Fuxia nodded vigorously. Like it. I don't have many requirements for the room. As long as it doesn't leak water. Gu Chen activated a robot nearby. This is a domestic robot temporarily assigned to care for you. Let it help you freshen up. It will take us 5 more hours to reach the imperial capital. Yan Fuxia wasn't interested at all in how long it would take to reach the imperial capital. I dragged the housekeeping robot to take a bath. Gu Chen silently retreated from the room. This little female was behaving far too contentedly. Completely different from other females. Nan Yan, waiting outside the door, called out to him, Brother Chen. The emperor is calling. It's time to go. Gu Chen nodded, putting away all expression. He walked with Nan Yan towards the command room. On the large screen in the command room, a middle-aged man with golden hair and golden eyes commanded authority without showing anger. But upon seeing Gu Chen and Nan Yan enter the command room, Tong Ning's expression immediately softened again. Does the cub like the room? Gu Chen said, with a helpless smile. Compared to the room, she is filled with a strong interest in the bathroom. However, this is also related to the environment she was in before. Thinking about the environment where the little cub was born, Tong Ning probably also guessed her personality and temper. What does she like? Gu Chen thought for a moment. She doesn't seem to like textbooks much, but probably likes some relatively interesting reading materials. You nodded. I'll have someone find some interesting reading materials right now. After saying that, he hung up the communication. At the same time, Yan Fuxia was holding the freshly scrubbed eggshell, showing off to the housekeeping robot. The housekeeping robot clapped and praised. Your Highness Yan Fu is amazing. Scrubbed it so clean. Happy from the praise, Yan Fuxia hummed a little tune. Decided to go out for a bit. To find someone else and get some more praise. She opened the door to her room. Looked left and right. Only to find a pair of long legs on both sides. Looked up. And saw two Imperial soldiers standing at the room door. Yan Fuxia smiled slightly. Displayed her eggshell in front of the two. Look how clean I've scrubbed my eggshell. The two were stunned for a moment. But the eggshell was indeed much cleaner than before. It was still dirty back in the ruined battlefield. Seal and a king snapped out of it. And quickly praised how clean it was scrubbed. The little hatchling has also become much prettier. Hearing the praise, Yan Fuxia was extremely happy. So she strolled along the corridor, showing off her eggshell to everyone she met. And after receiving praise, her happiness became visibly evident on her face. Seal and the other followed behind her, simply unable to believe their eyes. The little hatchling is way too easy to satisfy. After being satisfied by the praise, Yan Fuxia hugged her eggshell again and dashed back to her room. But before reaching the room, she stopped, staring blankly at what was behind a king. He actually grew a tail. Yan Fuxia was frightened by the sight, screaming at the top of her lungs that there's a monster. 10 minutes later, Yan Fuxia sat on a chair in the Starship Hall, listening to the military doctor brief her on genetical. As for a king, he was currently being lectured by Thaddeus. After being briefed for 20 minutes, Yan Fuxia finally accepted this setting. Doctor, will I have a tail too? The doctor shook his head. Your Highness, Yan Fuxia's bloodline is that of a phoenix maintaining human form, and only wings will appear, usually on the back, the kind of wings that can fly. Oh, no. Yan Fuxia felt heartbroken. She's afraid of heights. The doctor was somewhat puzzled. What's wrong? Don't you like wings? You don't have to manifest them either. No, it's because I'm afraid of heights. When the wings grow out, will I just take off on my own? The doctor rubbed the top of her head. No, the wings are just your identifier. If you don't want to fly, you won't fly. Hearing this, Yan Fuxia finally felt relieved. As long as I don't take off on my own, it's fine. After being educated, she secretly glanced at a king's head again. Besides the tail, there are also two cat ears on a king's head, Fluffy. Seeing this, the doctor quickly cleared his throat lightly, stopping Yan Fuxia's wild fancy. The beast genes of males cannot be touched. Yan Fuxia sighed. What a pity, but she didn't ask why either. Just knowing the result is enough. The Imperial Capital Female Protection Association, an old man said, with a serious expression. My young master naturally must live at home. How can he live outside? Butler Lan, the residence of the Yanfu clan, is temporarily unsuitable. The young lord needs to stay at the Protection Association for a while first. Members of the Yanfu clan will not go to reside in anyone's home. If you insist on having your own way, then the Yanfu clan will not let the matter rest either. Butler Lan, your words are too severe. We are only doing this for the young lord's own good. That is why we are acting this way. It seems there is no need for us to continue this discussion. If you persist in interfering, then I will also take necessary measures. Goodbye. The old man left the office indignantly. The people from the Female Protection Association are really getting more and more excessive. It seems I need to go complain to His Majesty about this. Imperial Capital Army Port. The warship of the Thorn Legion arrived at the port, gradually slowing down, finally coming to a complete stop. Outside the spacecraft, several Legion commanders of the Imperial Capital and the squad leaders of the various legions were already waiting here. And at the forefront of these people, there were two more groups. One group led by a white-haired old man. One group led by a young woman in splendid attire. Qian Fu had just walked to the spacecraft exit, but suddenly stopped in his tracks. Gu Chen, the atmosphere down there seems a bit off. Gu Chen glanced at the crowd below, and finally decided to tell him each person's identity. Those wearing military uniforms at the back are the commanders of the various legions and their squad leaders. The lady on your left, she is the vice president of the Female Protection Association, Miss Aldaro Deason. The gentleman on your right is the old butler of the Yanfu clan. You can just call him Butler Lan. The Female Protection Association. These two obviously don't get along, right? After a moment of thought, Yan Fuxia decided to return to the starship first. She needed some advice. Your starship has taken back a little cub. No choice. Gu Chen could only follow and withdraw into the starship as well, once the people outside were out of sight. Yan Fuxia looked up at Gu Chen and Nan Yan. Can you give some advice? The two exchanged a glance. Clearly, they hadn't guessed this little cub's thoughts again. Ever since bringing her back, they had never successfully guessed right. Because this little cub's focus is always so unconventional. Females don't need to listen to males' opinions. Just do as you think best. Yan Fuxia waved her hand, trying hard to appear wise. The teacher said, if you don't listen to the advice of the elders, you'll suffer the consequences right before your eyes. The two looked up at the sky, speechless. Let's return to the Yanfu home. Everything will be just as it was 20 years ago when your father was still here. Yan Fuxia nodded. All right. And then she huffed and puffed her way to the starship exit. She tilted her head, looking at the staircase in front of her. There are quite a lot of steps. Got to be careful. Avoid rolling straight down. So the little short legs tested several times before finally stepping onto the next step. The process was dangerous, but also somewhat funny to watch. Yan Fuxia's movements. Gu Chen felt that if he let her go down by herself, she might get hurt. Little Highness, let me help you down. Yan Fuxia looked at him puzzled. I have legs. Why are you carrying me? It's just a few more steps. No big deal. As long as she walks slowly, she can eventually reach the last step. As it turned out, one shouldn't speak too confidently. She had just descended 2 steps when the sky and ground in her eyes instantly swapped places, directly turning into mosquito coil circles. Just as she was about to fall, Butler Lan instantly leaped to a position right below her. Moving so fast, only an afterimage remained, and caught Yan Fuxia firmly in his arms. Then, using the momentum from the leap, he jumped back up, returning to the original standing position. Gu Chen brought the military doctor quickly to Butler Lan's side, urging the doctor to check Yan Fuxia's condition immediately. No bumps or impacts, but due to the flip, she might be dizzy for a while. It's still better to go to the hospital for a full checkup first. Yan Fuxia forced herself to regain composure. Going to the hospital is fine, but it has to be the Legion's so-called Female Protection Association. It doesn't sound very reliable. The Legion is still a bit safer. The doctor looks somewhat troubled. Little Highness, the general hospital would be better. Yahweh nearby also voiced his own thoughts. We could go to the Imperial Palace medical room. The hospitals affiliated with the Legion are all places for males to get examinations. Although the doctor's skill levels are the same, they lack instruments specifically for females. However, the Imperial Palace is different. After all, there are females among the royal family members, so naturally, the most comprehensive preparations have been made. But Yan Fuxia wore a stubborn expression. I won't go. Except for the Legion. I won't go anywhere else. Yahweh couldn't persuade her. Thaddeus, go notify the Imperial Palace to deliver the special instruments for females. Yahweh could actually have sent someone else. But the little one clearly has no sense of security right now. and Thaddeus, as a Legion member, can bring her enough sense of security. Sure enough, after hearing this, Yan Fuxia did not object, and even her mood softened considerably. Butler Lan was somewhat surprised, but did not speak, only silently picked up the little girl in his arms. Once again, Yan Fuxia felt her brain was about to turn to mush. The suddenly increased height made her even dizzier. What a not-so-wonderful first meeting. When Yan Fuxia was reported to the Second Legion, she looked at the surrounding scene. I feel like this place is quite similar to flower planting land. It's equally warm and familiar, seeing no trace of disgust in the little cub's eyes. The Imperial soldiers shed tears in their hearts. The little cub is so good. She doesn't look down on them at all. A doctor came up to Yan Fuxia. Hello, Little Highness. I am Shan Chong, a doctor from the Second Legion. Yan Fuxia politely smiled at him. Hello, Dr. Shan Chong. My name is Yan Fuxia. The doctor patted her head. Such a pretty little cub. We're going to start the examination now. With that, he set up the instruments for her. After the examination was completed, there's nothing seriously wrong with her health. Little Highness, all the checks are done. You can go find your guardian now. Yan Fuxia smiled and scratched her head. I don't have a human guardian. I am my own guardian. Shan Chong was completely stunned upon hearing this. All this professional data. The little cub wouldn't understand it anyway. The key point is that someone still needs to take care of her. Seeing the doctor's worried expression, Yan Fuxia understood. She went to find someone who could help. As for who could help, she simply went out and dragged two people in. Doctor, you can just talk to these two, Gu Chen and Nan Yan, who were entrusted with this important task. Didn't quite know how to describe their feelings at the moment. Being trusted is a good thing. But the two of them didn't seem quite suitable. After all, a little cub needs to be matched with a guardian. And these physical data, it's best to explain them to the matched guardian. At this moment, Butler Lan walked over. Young Master Yan Fu, your physical condition can only be known by a select few. And these individuals must have a certain relationship with you. For example, your father and mother, or your match and exclusive doctor, as well as your authorized person. However, it's best to choose a married male as the authorized person. Yan Fuxia understood. This body's parents are already gone. She doesn't have a match for now. But an exclusive doctor, that is something she can have. She immediately turned around, looking at Shan Chong with full anticipation. Could I trouble you to be my exclusive doctor? Shan Chong was utterly shocked. Although he really wanted to be the little cub's exclusive doctor, he truly wasn't qualified enough. Young master, it's best for you to choose a general practitioner, and one familiar with female healthcare. Yan Fuxia thought seriously for a moment. That works too. Is there one in the Legion? The few people present looked at each other. The words, Legion, just can't be avoided, can they? Seeing the expressions on these people's faces, Yan Fuxia understood there wasn't one. Then it's still up to you, Doctor. Yan Chong looked helplessly at Gu Chen, wanting to know how his own marshal would decide. Gu Chen was also helpless. But now, the little cub needed someone to take care of her. So he had no choice but to nod in agreement. Shan Chong looked gently at Yan Fuxia. Then I will temporarily act as your exclusive doctor. If in the future there is a doctor you trust, you can replace me then. With an exclusive doctor, there is no need to worry about Yan Fuxia's physical condition for now. Now there is a problem. How should Yan Fuxia be settled? She only trusts people from the Legion. And in speech and action, she never strays from the words, the Legion. Although Butler Lan wanted Yan Fuxia to return directly to the Yanfu family, given her current state, that is clearly not the optimal solution. If she were to leave with the people from the Female Treasures Association, it would be better for her to stay temporarily with the Legion. A temporary stay is not a problem. but staying for a long time is not feasible. Gu Chen thought. It would be better to let Yan Fuxia choose for herself. In fact, the little cub has her own thoughts. Might as well listen to her opinion. After hearing about her current situation, Yan Fuxia fell into deep thought. It feels a bit complicated. Might as well have stayed in the previous territory. After thinking for a long time, she still decided to follow Butler Lan back to the Yanfu family, and then proceed with the matching later. Empire Resident Registration Office. The staff member tremblingly took out the registration bracelet. Dear Little Highness, may I ask what your name is? My name is Yan Fuxia. Xia, as in summer. The little phoenix of the Yanfu family. Then let's first test your psychic power. Yan Fuxia extended her little paw, placed it on the crystal ball handed over by the staff, watching carefully the changes on the crystal ball. At this moment, a dazzling white light flashed inside the registration office, blinded to the point everything turned white before her eyes. She hurriedly withdrew her paw, retreated a few steps shakily. Butler Lan supported Yan Fuxia, looking at her with some concern, then placed his own hand protectively in front of her eyes. Sounds of gasps came frequently from the surroundings. Soon, whispers of disbelief began to rise. The Empire actually has an S-grade female. The last S-grade female was the first queen after the Empire's founding. Since then, not a single S-grade female has appeared. Even A-grade ones have become extremely rare. Now that such one has appeared, I'm afraid all the high-grade males in the entire empire will fight desperately for her. After Yan Fuxia's eyes returned to normal. As soon as she looked up, she saw a skull under a pair of green pupils, instantly disappearing. Remembering that Thaddeus is a snake, and the one before her is also a snake, Yan Fuxia calmed down. She turned to look at Butler Lan. Butler Lan, what is my psychic power level? Is white the worst? Of course not. White is the purest psychic power. Your grade is the highest among all females. Yan Fuxia was extremely happy. Although I don't know what use spiritual power has, but at least she has already surpassed many people in receiving citizenship. After getting the wristband, Yan Fuxia followed Butler Lan and returned to the ancestral land of the Yan Fu clan. Sitting in the hovercar, Yan Fuxia looked at the vast ancestral land below and fell into deep contemplation. Isn't this land a bit too big? The hovercar soon stopped at the central square, then slowly descended to the ground. Butler Lan was the first to get out of the car. He then stood by the car, waiting for the little girl inside to get out. Yan Fuxia held her eggshell, struggling to move to the car door, and stretched out her short little leg, groping for the ground. Because the eggshell was too big, it completely blocked her entire view. So the little short legs tested several times, but didn't feel the ground. Yan Fuxia turned her head to look at Butler Lan. Why is there no ground? Are we floating? Butler Lan smiled and narrowed his eyes. We are already on the ground. Your Highness, why not try moving a little further forward? Butler Lan did not reach out to help Yan Fuxia. He could see that the little princess liked to accomplish things on her own. If she needed help, she would ask for it herself. So it was better to let the little princess make her own efforts. And it would also make her happy with her small achievements. Yan Fuxia shuffled forward a bit and stretched out her little short leg again. This time, she finally touched the ground. When she extended her other foot, there was a loud clatter. She lost her balance and fell flat on her face. Yan Fuxia quickly fumbled with her eggshell, checking the lid on top of the eggshell. Oh no, it didn't get dented, did it? Your Highness, the eggshell is a very hard protective shell. It won't be damaged by such a bump. You need not worry. Receiving a definite answer, Yan Fuxia breathed a sigh of relief. As long as the eggshell isn't cracked or dented, it's not a big problem. After steadying herself, she patted the dust off her body and waited for Butler Lan to lead her away. However, Butler Lan knelt down on one knee. "Your Highness, all the butlers of the Yanfu clan are here. You must first establish your authority." Yanfu Xia looked completely bewildered. "What kind of authority are we establishing? This isn't appropriate, is it?" Butler Lan laughed heartily. "Young master, please first do as I say. You will know the specific reasons later." "All right then." Yan Fuxia put down the eggshell in his hand. Just as he looked up, he felt his vision blur for a moment. He saw 10 formally dressed young men kneel on one knee. The family butlers pay their respects to the young master. "We respectfully welcome the young master's return." Yan Fuxia felt somewhat awkward. How about we just skip this part directly?" Butler Lan gave a light cough, successfully making Yan Fuxia shut up. And switched modes. Yan Fuxia tried hard to make himself serious, nodding in imitation of a big shot's manner. "Understood? You may rise." The 10 men obediently stood up. Each looked at Yan Fuxia gently, their eyes bright and focused. Butler Lan also stood up at the same time. Yan Fuxia gave a simple introduction. "I am responsible for all affairs of the entire family. In the future, I will also be your guide. Lan Yi is your exclusive butler. You can have him do anything, no matter the time or place, as long as you need it." These 10 people are the internal butlers of the clan, specifically responsible for the clan's living facilities and all matters related to your life. There is also one responsible for external affairs. But I'm sorry, he is not here at the moment, because he is currently on the fierce battlefield at the southernmost front. However, after receiving the news, he had already activated the fastest spatial teleportation to rush back. It will take 5 hours to arrive. We hope for your understanding." Yan Fuxia was completely stunned. Wasn't he at work? To just call him back directly. What about his work then? When Yan Fuxia entered the villa, before she could even warm up the sofa, her bracelet started beeping incessantly. She looked at the bracelet with a face full of confusion. "What's going on?" Butler Lan smiled gently. "The Young Highness's matching system has been opened. All eligible males of the Empire can submit applications." Yan Fuxia looked utterly hopeless. "But there are so many. The key is they're still desperately increasing in number." Half an hour later, just before Yan Fuxia became completely numb, the pop-up windows finally stopped. "Is it over now? Then what should I do next?" Because the number of applications is quite large, it is suggested that the Young Highness proceed with screening. Looking at the number of pop-ups, Yan Fuxia took a deep breath. "All right, each of you give me one screening criterion." As soon as these words were spoken, they completely stunned Butler Lan and the others, as if they had heard something utterly fantastical. They had never seen any female-esque males for suggestions and criteria, especially regarding the matter of matching. The first to react was Lan Yi. "Just throw off these restraints. He believes whatever the little prince says goes. He only needs to follow orders." Given your young age, male job categories include soldier, doctor, teacher, etc. If there are any industry categories you like, you can also continue to add more. Good idea. Yan Fuxia opens the filter page, then selects all the professions Lan Yi just mentioned. Of course, there are other career options on the page. She looks at them. Finally also selects student and fashion designer. Lan Yi strokes his chin and smiles faintly. It seems the little prince wants pretty little dresses. Lan Yi's proposal ends. Yan Fuxia looks at the others again. Quickly give a filterable item. Butler Lan, seeing that Lan Yi's proposal was well received by the little prince, he then looks at the others and nods, signaling they can make suggestions. Little prince, you can filter by this household cleaning level. What is household cleaning? Cleaning? There are even levels for this. Yan Fuxia follows the suggestion and applies the filter. Whoosh! A huge batch disappears instantly, following everyone's prompts. After finishing the filtering, Although more than half are gone, the number of remaining matching individuals is still extremely high. Lan Yi glances at his communication device and voices his friend's suggestion. Here, little prince. The last family butler's advice to you is, the compatibility rate exceeds 80%. Yan Fuxia quickly proceeded with the screening. This time, it was reduced by half again. So then, just choose randomly? You can make your selection based on your own preferences. There's no need to meet in advance either. Being chosen is these males' good fortune. If you don't like them after contact, you can simply send them back. No need to consider their feelings. What's the difference between this and being a scumbag? But this is indeed a female's right. Respect the rules. Make good use of your rights. Listen to what the teacher says. It definitely isn't wrong. Yan Fuxia was still quite interested in the compatibility rate. She directly sorted them from highest to lowest based on compatibility. The highest compatibility is with Nan Yan. Nan Yan, Empire Marshal. At 39 years old, commands the Empire's 1st Legion. Eagle gene compatibility 99.9%. Such a high compatibility rate. That really is impressive. But because she knows him, she still wanted to inquire about Nan Yan's thoughts. To respect his choice, continuing to look down the list, the person with the second highest compatibility she also knows. It's precisely Lan Yi sitting beside her. Lan Yi, clothing designer. Yan Fu clan family butler. 42 years old, goat gene. Compatibility 99%. Yan Fuxia's eyes instantly lit up. It seems there's hope for pretty little dresses. Without waiting for Lan Yi to speak, she continued reading the content on the page. From beginning to end. Finished watching it all. Butler Lan said. Currently, the matched individual's status is that of a temporary guardian. Only after she comes of age will they become a candidate for a prospective husband. But regardless of which status, at least 5 people have already been selected first. The 5 people looked at their identity information. Yan Fuxia decided to send them a message first. No matter what the rules of this world are, she believes this kind of thing should be a two-way selection. So the most basic courtesy must be upheld. Lan Yi looked at the message popping up on his wristband, turned his head to look at Yan Fuxia. Don't look at me and don't rush to answer me. I'll give you a day to consider. I hope you can think seriously. Just treat me as a stranger. Seeing the seriousness in Yan Fuxia's eyes, Lan Yi stopped the hand that wanted to reply directly, then nodded. After finishing the matching, Yan Fuxia was already extremely sleepy. After all, since returning from the battleship, she hadn't slept at all. Just as she was about to crawl into the eggshell, she was suddenly picked up by Lan Yi. I've prepared a room for you. Go rest in the room. Yan Fuxia gave an sound. And before even entering the room, she had already fallen asleep. Lan Yi carried her to the room on the 3rd floor, gently placed her on the big bed, then quietly retreated. Butler Lan stood at the door, smiling as he looked at his own grandson. The message sent to you by the little prince. Think carefully before making a decision. Lan Yi nodded seriously. I understand. At the same time, Nan Yan looked at the message sent by Yan Fuxia, feeling somewhat unbelievable. Because the normal procedure is to first receive a match notification. Then comes the female's message situation. But this time, it was just the opposite. Marshal Nan Yan, hello. This is Yan Fuxia. According to the main system's matching results, I have selected you from the match list. There are 2 reasons for choosing you. First, you are a soldier. Second, you are someone I know and relatively trust. If you agree to match with me, then please reply with a message to me. I will click to send the match information to you. Of course, if you do not agree, then this match result will not be announced. It will not affect your future matches with other females. Nan Yan fell silent, because females never respect males' choices. But this little female is always a bit different from others. Gu Chen was in the military camp. Looking at the message that popped up on his wristband, his gentle eyes instantly flashed with light. The content of the message was the same as Nan Yan's. Although Gu Chen was somewhat surprised, this indeed fits the little female's personality. During the Chongming battlefield, he had felt that this little female was very special, because her behavior is completely different from other females, and whatever she says she will do, she definitely can do it. A very easy to talk to little female, still quite mood comforting. Lan Yi sat by the bedside, looking at the message in the wristband, remained silent for a long time. Although the Lan family has always been butlers for the Yan Fu family, however, most of the Yan Fu family are males. Females don't appear much either. By his generation, he has never seen a female in the Yan Fu family, but he has also seen quite a few males of the Yan Fu family not doing well with their matched females. Actually, originally Lin Yi really disliked females. A certain single apartment in the imperial capital. A man in military uniform pulled open his collar. Green vertical pupils stared at the forcibly popped up message. After opening it irritably, he immediately froze instead. The face of that little female appeared in his mind. Respected Adjutant Lion Wu, hello. I am Yan Fuxia. According to the system's matching results, I have selected you from the screening page. There are 2 reasons for choosing you. First, although you are the marshal's adjutant, you are a doctor. My butler says I need a dedicated doctor. Second, you are Adjutant Sax's family. I think you are also someone trustworthy. If you are willing, please reply to this message within 24 hours. I will send you the matching results. Read it carefully several times. It was indeed a message from a female. But such a strange message was the first time he had ever seen. Opening the attachment, what came into view was that little female he had seen before, the one holding the eggshell. In all these years of being in politics, Lion Wu had never encountered a female like this. A female who would respect a male's choice. He didn't believe it one bit. Even if this female could be like this now, what about after she grows up? Who could guarantee this female would always have such a good temper? Thinking of that little female's gaze, the hand about to reply with a refusal stopped. He irritably grabbed a handful of his hair and then directly closed the communication page. Anyway, there were still 24 hours left. He'd think about it later. Imperial Military Academy Field Training Ground. Hai Yu, who was undergoing field training, had just hidden himself, preparing for a squad ambush, only to be exposed the very next second. A forced message page popped up. Even his martial father wouldn't possibly do this to him at a time like this. There were only 2 possibilities for a forced message pop-up. One was an imperial special message. The other was a female's message. Haiyu scratched his head in frustration. His mother wouldn't send such a forced message, especially during his training. Could it be a strange female? The moment he opened the message page, he was completely stunned. Hi Yu. I am Yan Fuxia. According to the system's matching result, I have selected you from the screening page. There are 2 reasons for choosing you. The first is, although you are older than me, we are both young cubs, so perhaps we will have common topics to discuss. The second is, you are a military academy student. Perhaps I can tag along with you to attend some classes. Learning one more skill means one more way to strengthen myself. If you are willing, please reply to this message after 24 hours. I will send you the matching results. Hai Yu opened the attachment. In the photo was a cute little female. When the photo was taken, she happened to be baring her little fangs, with a brilliant smile. At this moment, his good buddy beside him was completely dumbfounded. Holy shit, she's actually S-grade. You must be kidding. There are no S-grade females in existence at all. Hai Yu's voice trembled slightly. This little female's surname is Yan Fu. The genetic prototype of the Yan Fu clan is the mythical beast, the phoenix. The Empire's Tree of Life was produced by their clan. That Tree of Life has protected countless emperors of the Empire and has guarded the Empire for over 10,000 years. If you ask, which family is the most respected in the entire Empire? It is definitely not the Imperial royal family, but the Yan Fu clan. Looking at the message, Hai Yu also didn't know what to do. But there are still 24 hours. Let's think it over first. Early the next morning, the entire empire was in an uproar because the system released a piece of news that shocked everyone. The Yan Fu clan had produced a little highness. A little highness who, at only 5 years old, already possessed S-level psychic power. But the matching applications closed yesterday. Currently, the little highness has already made her selection. The final results will be announced shortly. At the same time, Yan Fuxia, who had just woken up, opened her wristband. There were already 5 reply letters inside. So fast? Weren't they supposed to take 24 hours? She opened these 5 reply letters. 4 replied with agreement. 1 replied with rejection. She was somewhat devastated. Why are there only 4? Seems like she'll have to choose one more. Indeed, she wasn't a transmigration heroine. Couldn't be loved by everyone. Then she'd just be an ordinary extra. Although she had a bit of a headache at the moment, she wasn't saddened by that letter of rejection. Because it was time for bottle milk, so she dashed out in a flash. But as soon as she stepped out the door, she was stopped by Lan Yi. Little Highness, the stairs are very steep. Be careful and watch your step. Remembering the previous time, she fell flat on her face. Yan Fuxia indicated she would definitely listen to the advice this time. Seeing the Little Highness walk down with a relaxed expression, Butler Lan hurried forward to greet her. Good morning, Little Highness. It's a bright, sunny day today. Yan Fuxia blinked her eyes, her face full of anticipation. Good morning, Butler Lan. There's bottled milk today, right? Bottled milk is temporary. Starting today, the young lord can enjoy the finest basin milk. Yan Fuxia suddenly felt a lump in her throat. This time, I've really become a panda. Even drinking milk requires a basin. Young lord, don't worry. Although it's called basin milk, it's not actually served in a basin. It's served in a beautiful carved bowl. It's just called basin milk by name. Oh, I see. Then it's fine. Yan Fuxia, having returned to normal, stated. It's not quite at the panda level yet. After eating and drinking her fill, led by Butler Lan, Yan Fuxia arrived at the study. The study wasn't very large, but it was arranged very comfortably. It completely lacked the cold, rigid feeling of a place for work. At this moment, the desk was completely covered with documents, the kind requiring approval. Looking at so many documents, Yan Fuxia felt somewhat puzzled. Could it be that she had to handle all of these? The key point is, she doesn't know how. Young lord, these are documents that have accumulated over the past 20 years. Apart from the absolute decrees set by the young master in the past, the rest require approval by successive family heads. Frowning after the instruction, she felt she needed to seriously think about the path ahead. You all go out first. I want to think for a moment. Butler Lan pulled Lan Yi, who seemed to want to say something, out of the study. All right, if you have any needs, please feel free to call us. These matters require the young master to think for himself. They can only assist from the side. Afraid that his own grandson is a match, Yan Fuxia leaned back in the chair, watching the bright sunshine outside the window, suddenly feeling a bit lost in her eyes. Before crossing over, she was only 15 years old. A middle school student. Asking a student to solve family problems. This is no different from forcing a duck onto a perch. As for how she crossed over, she no longer remembers, only knows that she opened her eyes and was inside an eggshell. These past 5 years of life can be said to be extremely terrible. Every day she only thought about one thing: how to survive. Although forced to grow up a bit, But that was only about judging danger, not about how to manage a family. Coming back to her senses, looking again at the documents before her, Yan Fuxia's eyes inexplicably grew firm. Must not let the Yan Fu family fall. This is also the tightest string in her mind. She needs to know who can be trusted. Thus, she made a relatively bold decision. Open the communication page of the system. From the 4 messages of agreement, select one person, then send 2 messages. At the same time, Nan Yan, who had just arrived at the office, upon receiving the forced message, paused for a moment. "Hello, Marshal. I am Yan Fuxia. I want to ask a question. Are Butler Lan and Lan Yi completely trustworthy?" Nan Yan frowned slightly, then replied to this message. He could feel the little female's trust in him. And her unease, a little female who understands nothing about the situation at all, suddenly has to take charge of a divine beast descendant family. This is a very difficult matter. Moreover, the Yan Fu family has been without a master for 20 years. Surely many problems have accumulated. Relying on the little female alone, it is impossible to handle everything properly in a short time. In the moving hover car, Lion Wu suddenly received a forcibly popped-up message. "Hello, Adjutant Lion Wu. I am Yan Fuxia. I want to ask a question. Are Butler Lan and Lan Yi completely trustworthy?" After reading the message, Lion Wu was a bit confused. Didn't I reject this little female? Why is she still seeking help? He completely couldn't understand this little female's thoughts. But this message indeed needed a reply. Thinking of his previous rejection, the little female didn't curse back at him. He fell silent. Yan Fuxia looked somewhat surprised at the 2 reply messages. Opening Nan Yan's reply, it only had 2 words, trustworthy. But when opening Lion Wu's reply, it was a slightly longer explanation. Respected Little Highness Yan Fu, the Lan family has served the Yan Fu family for 1,000 years. He is the 4th clan leader of the Yan Fu family. Personally selected the Blue Butler. Served 2 family heads, namely, your father and your grandfather. The evaluations were excellent. And in these 20 years since your father passed away, resisted immense external pressure, struggled to preserve all family affairs. Lan Yi is the grandson of the Blue Butler, graduated from the Empire's first military academy, was the most outstanding graduate that year. One of the 2, their capabilities are unquestionable. For now, both are trustworthy. But whether they are trustworthy in the long term, you need to make your own judgment. If you truly need help, you can consult a good friend of your father. But it is not recommended that you consult with the first prince of the imperial family. After reading Lion Wu's reply, Yan Fuxia felt much more at ease. Indeed, she had bet correctly. Lion Wu is actually quite good. Although he rejected her, he clearly isn't bad-hearted. Most likely just didn't want to match with her. Looking at the documents on the desk, Yan Fuxia decided to first send the matching results to the other 4 people. The bracelets of the 4 people chimed simultaneously. You have successfully matched with Her Highness Yan Fuxia. Please register as soon as possible within 24 hours. Overdue registration will void this matching result and incur imperial punishment. Nan Yan was just about to start working when the matching result forcibly popped up. Compatibility 99.9%. This is the most perfect matching result. Nan Yan was stunned. Previously, a female had also matched with him, but he rejected her and thus received punishment from the Empire. The penalty for rejecting a female match is extremely severe. If it hadn't been for the Emperor's strong protection back then, he would have had no possibility of becoming a marshal. Now, looking at that shockingly high result, Nan Yan only felt both surprise and joy. Although the matching results were out, to ensure all matched individuals could register normally, before the registration of all personnel concludes, the matching results will not be publicly announced. Nan Yan was the first to arrive at the registration office. When the staff saw his compatibility rate, they all showed expressions of envy and jealousy. The second to come register was Gu Chen. He came from his own home. The distance was a bit far, so he didn't run into Nan Yan. The staff would not disclose information about other matched individuals. This was also to protect the young lord. Therefore, Gu Chen did not know that Nan Yan was also a matched individual. After Gu Chen finished registering, like Nan Yan, he received everyone's envy and jealousy before leaving the registration office. Meanwhile, Hai Yu, who was still in training, finally received his own matching result as well. Compatibility rate 95%. He originally thought that when matching with a wife in the future, a conventional 60 or 70% would be pretty good. He never expected it to be this high. Since this place is quite far from the registration office, Hai Yu chose online registration. However, after he completed the registration, the matching results were made public. Matcher 1 Nan Yan, Marshal of the 1st Empire Legion, 39-year-old goshawk. Match rate 99.9%. Matcher 2 Lan Yi, fashion designer, 42-year-old goat. Match rate 99%. Matcher 3 Gu Chen, Marshal of the 2nd Empire Legion, 55-year-old azure dragon. Match rate 96%. Matcher 4 Hai Yu, 3rd-year student at the Empire's 1st Military Academy, 20-year-old Zuan Wu. Match rate 95%. 1 vacant matcher position. Please, eligible males matching the mechanism. Apply for matching as soon as possible. Oh, my God. The little one only chose for people. It seems we still have a chance. After saying this, a group of students became eager to try. Unlike others who were unclear, Gu Chen and Nan Yan saw the situation clearly at a glance. The little female definitely chose 5 people, but 1 rejected her. 2 days later, Yan Fuxia, with heavy dark circles under her eyes, looked at the 3 people sitting opposite her on the sofa. Clearly, she had finished reviewing all those documents accumulated over 20 years. Hai Yu, seeing her dark circles were too severe, asked somewhat uncertainly, "Little Highness, are you okay?" "I'm fine. Don't call me Little Highness. I don't want to hear that title right now." Whenever these 3 words appear, it absolutely means work is coming. She didn't want to hear it. "I don't want to work either." Afraid Hai Yu might overthink, she explained again, saying, "You can call me anything, just don't call me Little Highness. I just don't want to work. I want to be idle, since we're all here now. I'll make it clear first. You don't need to take much care of me. Work when it's time to work. Go to school when it's time for school. If I have something particularly urgent, I'll directly video call you. For non-urgent matters, send a text message. Reply when you see it. That's fine. My current personal doctor is Dr. Shan Chong from the 2nd Legion. If I have problems, I'll go to him. If anyone bullies you, you can come to me. I'll beat them up, and if I can't beat them, we'll gather people for a group beating." Looking at the little female who spoke so earnestly, the few men felt quite helpless inside. How could we let a female help males fight? And who taught her the term group beating? After speaking, Yan Fuxia directly collapsed onto the sofa. She wants to rest. She wants to drink bottle milk. Lan Yi, familiar with the routine, placed a warm bottle of milk into her hand. The little cub who seemed half dead just a moment ago immediately revived at full health. Hugging the bottle milk and gulping it down. Glug.